start? हेलो नमस्कार, सिंटा के इस चैट में आप सबका स्वागत है। दोस्तों, आप जैसे जानते हैं कि हमने अपने सारे सोशल प्लेटफॉर्म पर ये बताया था कि ये जो लाइव चैट होने वाला है जिसका टॉपिक है मेंटल हेल्थ, लेकिन किसी तकनीकी वजह से हम वो आप तक लाइव नहीं ला पा रहे हैं। सो ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ द एंटायर सिंटा मीडिया टीम आई वुड लाइक टू अपोलोजाइज ऑल माय व्यूअर्स। लेकिन चूंकि ये मुद्दा इतना ज्यादा जरूरी है अबाउट मेंटल हेल्थ, जिसके बारे में जानकारी देना, जिसके बारे में बात करना हमारे लिए बहुत जरूरी है, खासतौर से आज के टाइम में जबकि हम सब एक पेंडेमिक से गुजर रहे हैं, तो हमने सोचा इस चैट को हम आपके जरिए, जूम के जरिए लेकर आएंगे। सो जैसे कि आप सब जानते हैं कि हमारी चैट का मुद्दा है, टॉपिक है दैट द वे टू हेल्थ, happiness and harmony is primarily in the mind. And to talk about that, we have a very special guest who's a specialist, who's an expert in this field. So without much delay, I would like to invite the clinical psychologist who's been practicing for last 20 years, Ms. Husna Vanjara.
Hello, everyone.
Husna, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for taking the time out for us. I know how busy you are, but I think it was very, very important and imperative for all our members to benefit from your, talk and your learning, everything.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very happy.
Okay. So let me start by asking you, Husna, कि mental health, ये जो एक शब्द है, ये जो एक टर्म है, हम इतने टाइम से सुनते आ रहे हैं, और खास तौर से 6 महीनों में लास्ट पेंडेमिक के, what exactly is this mental health? We know what is a physical health. हमारे अगर हमारी शरीर में कोई बीमारी होती है, कुछ प्रॉब्लम होती है, तो हमें पता है we have to go to a doctor or a specialist. But what exactly is this mental health and how important it is in today's time?
Okay. So mental health mainly includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, we feel, and we act. So for example, if a person is angry, you're feeling very frustrated inside, you're feeling anxious inside, you don't know how to take it out. So then when your child comes home from school, you start shouting and screaming at him for no reason. So that's how mental health affects your entire being. It also determines how we relate to stress, how we relate to others, how we make choices. Okay, so we have heard of the saying, a healthy mind is a healthy
हमारी स्ट्रेस है हमारे लाइफ में, are those the factors for mental health, or there are some other factors also which are equally important and which become big and that affect our mental health?
Yeah, so there are various factors, but if you don't address those factors, they keep building up within you, and then one day they will explode. So that is the problem. So you shouldn't let them explode. So keep addressing them as and when you can. And your mental health, it doesn't always stay the same. It keeps changing as the circumstances of your life change, as you move through different phases of your life. So for example, as a kid, you're very happy-go-lucky. As a teen, you're very happy-go-lucky. But later on tomorrow, you may enter into the work setup and you may face depression or anxiety issues. Okay. And then you feel, but I'm not like that. Yeah. How can I be depressed? I can't be depressed. So it keeps changing with every situation in your life. If you have a problem in your marriage, then you may be upset, and then at a point when everything is fine, you'll be fine. So it keeps changing. It doesn't stick on to one particular situation in your life.
So you're saying that these the factors which can lead to stress or to mental health could be work related, could be
Yes.
As in a personal life related.
Yeah. So the main factors which can affect your mental health, it could be biological. So it could be something in your genes, or it could be some havoc with the hormones are playing with your body.
Okay.
Which is what clinical depression is actually.
Okay.
Then it could be a result of your life experiences. So if you have experienced any traumas in the past which you have not dealt with, if you have dealt with any kind of sexual abuse, or parents beating you, wife beating, etc., all these bullying, which is a big thing happening nowadays. So these life experiences can also affect your mental health in a very negative way. Plus your lifestyle. Are you being physically active? Are you not being physically active? Your substance abuse. Are you on drugs? Are you on alcohol? Have you become a chain smoker? Lack of sleep. Sleep can play havoc with your mental health if you don't have adequate sleep. Plus your food habits, junk food, unhealthy food. So besides others, these are the main factors which would affect a person's mental health.
which is a very important thing कि आप जो कह रही है कि जो हमारी लाइफस्टाइल चॉइसेस हैं उस पर भी हमारी मेंटल हेल्थ बहुत अफेक्ट करती है, and not just the biological thing or probably which we have in our DNA. So how we respond to that external pressures and the lifestyle, it also affects our mental.
It does affect your mental health. Now I'll tell you why is mental health so important. Recently सब mental health के बारे में कर रहे हैं. Why is it so important? The first reason mental health is very important is because it can affect your physical health. For example, we have cases where we have people who come with psychosomatic problems. So clinically, there's nothing wrong with them, you know, but because they have that anxiety and that stress building up to them, that manifests in the form of physical anxiety. So you can get things like acidity, you can get mouth ulcers, eczema. Nowadays, a lot of young girls are getting PCOD, which is also stress related. So I'll give you an example. Once I had a client who was like about 30s, and he was admitted to Global Hospital at Parel. He was there for 6 months, okay? And there were various tests done on him, and he had severe acidity and severe ulcers and stuff like that. At one point, they even thought it could be cancer. But then they did so many tests for 6 months, nothing came out, everything was negative. Finally, and the doctors told him, now we can't do anything, you know, you need to go and see somebody, a mental health professional. So the client was referred to me. When he came to me, it was an issue of bullying at the workplace. So he couldn't tell anybody, and it was happening since the past 1 year. So he had internalized everything. He couldn't tell his wife, he couldn't tell his co-workers, nothing. And look at the way it came out in. So it affects your health. You know, very often we see even children when they go to school, they start vomiting and they say, oh, we don't want to go to school, we don't want to go to school. But as parents, हमको समझ में नहीं आता है कि बच्चा क्यों ऐसे बोल रहा है. You know, फिर डॉक्टर के पास ले जाते हैं तो डॉक्टर बोलता है नहीं उसको कुछ नहीं, उसको शायद मानसिक कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है. So that is why mental health is very, very important for physical health. Secondly, it helps you to cope with the normal stressors of life in an effective, healthy way. Secondly, it helps you to have good, healthy relationships with others, which is very important. Helps you to work productively in life. Helps you to realize your full potential. The most important thing is it helps you to be content and happy.
Correct.
And not striving for more all the time. You're content and you're happy. You're working. Okay, fine. You want to earn money and all that, but you're not in the mad rat race. Okay, and it keeps you stress-free. And most important, it helps you in making correct decisions. So many a times when we are upset or angry and we have to take important decisions, we cannot do it because our mental state is not like that. So we end up taking wrong decisions in life.
You know, Husna, okay, while listening to you, theoretically, what you're saying, good communication, the stress-free life, all that sounds very good. But as we all know that we are still going through pandemic, okay, last 6 months have been like the whole world has come to a standstill, where the communication has become almost zero. People are pent up in their houses, you know, the relationships have suffered. The cases of domestic violence, cases of child abuse, everything has gone up, which we've been reading a lot. Now, at least in my generation, and I can say this safely, a generation of my parents, we have not faced this kind of a situation ever, this pandemic ever. So we were never prepared for something like that. And especially today when so much of exposure is out there, we are always on a social media and everything, you know, when we are so outgoing and social creatures, so to speak. How do you think this pandemic has affected the health, the mental health of people world over, and especially in India?
So today the world is facing this crisis, which has changed the life of millions of people all over the world. It has never happened before. It has disrupted our lives completely. Our social relationships have gone for a toss, as you said. Our routines are out of the window. Jobs are at a peril. There is uncertainty and panic everywhere. And a lot of people are affected by this pandemic because of the stress it is causing. We are not used to sitting indoors. You know, normally even with family, you spend time on the weekends, in the evening. Here you're sitting like 4 months, 5 months in closed doors with family, which is giving rise to differences. So people are getting very, very frustrated. They are facing a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of sleep disturbances because of a lack of routine, eating disorders. There is a state of confusion and panic everywhere. So this is normal. This is happening to everybody, you know. But what we are seeing now is as the restrictions are getting lifted slowly and slowly, most of the intensity of these symptoms will go away with time. But there could also be feelings of worry, anxiety left within you.
Insecurities.
What if I get the virus? What will happen? It is so expensive.
Correct.
Look at the centers, where is
The
my
fear.
your fear factor. Secondly, there is also a lot of guilt and fear of exposing old parents and young children to the virus. So you go out to work, you contract something, and you come back and you give it to your parents. So that fear is also there amongst a lot of people as they are going out. So I'll just give you some tips on how we can manage our anxiety during these times, especially during these difficult times. So you accept that some amount of fear and anxiety is normal because it's a new situation. Nobody has faced this before. So accept it that you are going to feel a little fearful. You are going to feel a little anxious. But you seek credible information. You know the facts about the illness, know the facts about COVID-19, and you avoid information overload. Trust a proper good news, like a proper good authentic news channel, and go with that what that channel is saying. Don't look for hajar instances because half of them are crap and half of them are all made up for TRPs. When you're back on the sets or when you're back at work, you communicate with your co-workers about the anxiety you're facing and the stress you're facing. So that helps to lighten the environment, and you yourself know that others are also going through the same issues. Thirdly, you identify those things that you do not have control over, but make the best with the resources you have. So wear a mask, sanitize frequently, eat healthy food, build your immunity, because immunity is the key to this illness. Have zinc, have your vitamin C, have your multivitamins regularly. Connect with the loved ones, talk to people often, because unfortunately we can't meet them, and all of us are social beings. So, connect with your parents if you're not living with them, connect with school friends, college friends, try and, have Zoom calls, confide in people, your fears, what you're feeling, because remember, you're not alone. Everybody is facing this same situation. Only some people are talking about it. Some people are not talking about it. That's the thing. Okay. Exercise regularly, do meditation, yoga. That's very important. Then stay away from drugs. Too much of substance abuse is not good. Too much alcohol is not good. Too much cigarettes are not good. Stay away from a lot of social media, which is a big, big problem.
Very difficult.
Very difficult to stay away, but you have to control yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Secondly, sleep well. Try and fix a proper timing to sleep as you normally would do, with proper disrupted quality of sleep, good sleep. Laugh a lot, smile a lot, see movies which make you feel happy, not movies which make you feel depressed. That's very important. And be very clear that this pandemic is going to end. Nothing is permanent in this world. But value the freedom which we had earlier. That's very important. And protect the earth and the environment. Because I personally feel this is nature's way of giving back to we humans. Like the harm, what we have caused the environment is now coming back to us. You see our beaches and all are so clean now. And secondly, the most important thing I would say is practice gratitude. Be grateful for everything you have in your life, no matter how little it may be. And you see things changing when you are in a positive frame of mind. That gratitude works. So when we all complain for these 6 months, oh, we are stuck at home, but we are stuck at home, we at least have a house. People don't have houses. People are walking miles to go to the villages. People have died whilst walking. People have had no water to drink. They've had no money. At least we have food. We are sitting in the comfort of our house. Thoda bahut we are sacrificing, okay, because our luxuries have been cut off. But at least we are blessed. So when you think of your blessings compared to others, no matter what small a blessing you have, remember there is some other person in the world who doesn't even have that much. And
absolutely,
that will make
you're right.
Better.
Yeah, you're right. And gratitude is very important. And also I think कि हम जो इंसान है, हमारे में एक शक्ति है अडेप्ट करने की. वो शुरुआत में हमें जरूर लगता है, लेकिन हम धीरे धीरे चीजों को अडेप्ट करते हैं, और फिर हमें समझ में आता है कि हम क्या कर रहे थे जो हमें नहीं करना चाहिए था. Which is very important.
Charge this. Yeah, sorry. Tell me, continue, please. Yeah.
No, so as I was saying, कि we as humans, I think we are the species, we know how to adapt. So जब लॉकडाउन भी हुआ तो शुरुआत में सबको लगा कि केज है, फ्रीडम खत्म हो गई है, सब कुछ, बट धीरे धीरे हमने अडेप्ट किया. उसमें से बहुत सारी अच्छी चीजें भी बाहर आई.
Exactly.
जो टाइम था हमने स्पेंड नहीं किया था फैमिली के साथ, जो हमने रिलेशन बिल्ड अप में नहीं किया था, वो हुआ. अपनी हेल्थ पर हम ध्यान दे सके, अपना एक रूटीन बना सके. करेक्ट.
People have learned new hobbies, new art. It's
But then, as you said, there is also a flip side to it. A lot of insecurities. which also leads to depression, okay, and the other mental health issues. Now, depression, we know, हम सुनते हैं, एक term है, but whatever I've understood and whatever I've read, but I want to know from you, what exactly is the difference between depression and someone who's sad, who's in a state of low, or have some mood swings? So what exactly is the difference between these two?
So we all have times when we are sad, when we are low, when we are upset. Everybody has that. It's normal, okay? When things don't go our way. So for example, when somebody has a breakup, you're sad. When you want a role, you know, or you want a job which you don't get, you get sad, okay? When you don't do well in an exam, you are sad. But with sadness, what happens? The feelings pass. It's temporary.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect your day-to-day life, you know. But nowadays, what is happening? Even a lot of youngsters just come, oh, I'm depressed. Oh, I'm depressed. So that what depression is being used very, very casually.
Casually.
Okay. But depression is a mood disorder. It's actually a disorder. It's a clinical disorder which affects how we think, we feel, and we behave. That is the difference between. So sadness is one of the symptoms of depression. Sadness is not depression. Okay. So depression interferes with our daily functioning. How we function in our daily lives. We can't function if we are depressed. Clinically depressed in daily lives. So in such a situation of depression, we have sadness, we have a low mood, we have a lot of anger, we are demotivated, we don't want to do anything, you know, we just want to sleep at times. Then we have the feeling that life is very bad and nothing good is going to come out of it, like a feeling of hopelessness. So we have that. Often there is too much sleep or too little sleep. Often too much eating or too little eating. Loss of appetite bhi hota hai. Ya to you're eating a lot to compensate for that feeling. Okay. General feeling of lethargy. You know, sometimes people come and say, it's so difficult to get out of bed. I just can't face up to the world. I'm finding it so difficult. You know, like they'll get up, brush their teeth and go back to sleep. मुझसे नहीं होता है यार, मुझे छोड़ दो. That kind of an attitude. Okay. But probably the most important aspect of depression is the fact that the person starts thinking very negatively about himself, okay, or about other people, and then they start thinking about self-harming, which is suicide, okay, which is first an idea and then it becomes a reality if it's not treated. Okay. So this is depression. Mainly. So these I've given you are all the symptoms of depression, what I've told you. If you want, I can repeat them again.
No, it's okay. Okay, moving on. There's another thing the term which we hear is anxiety. People have kind of panic attacks or they have anxiety issues. So how would you define that in a person?
So to the lay person, anxiety is a kind of घबराहट. You know, वो दिल में घबराहट होता है हमको के, you know, it's a fear of the unknown. It's a kind of tension, of nervousness about the future. Anxiety is not about the past. You know, so it's like a feeling what we call of impending doom, that kuch to hone wala hai, something bad is going to happen, but you can't pinpoint what. So for example, if a child has an exam the next day, in his mind he's manifesting, the paper is going to be so tough, I will not know anything, I will forget, I will not be able to write, I will make mistakes. So uske dimag mein he's comprehending all this. Another child in the same situation might not think like that. So anxiety has a lot to do with what you're thinking. Or for example,
sorry, yeah, so maybe it is transitory. Matlab, it again, as it passes on because the situation right now is such.
Yeah, but sometimes you internalize it also. Sometimes you internalize it also, which I'll tell you. So sometimes so when you're anxious, normally you may run to the washroom many times. You may sleep too little because of the stress. So if, for example, if you have a paper tomorrow, or if you're going to, you know, for a difficult scene
new
tomorrow,
job,
you might not sleep well in the night. Will I mess up in front of my co-actors? What will they say? So again, you're thinking about all that. You may feel nauseous, you may feel acidic, you may have headaches. So all these are the physical manifestations of anxiety. Secondly, sometimes people who face a lot of anxiety may land up in the hospital. Okay. And then with symptoms similar to a heart attack, which we call as a panic attack. Okay. So the doctors would check you up and say, you're absolutely fine. So there's nothing wrong with your heart. You know, you need to go and see a psychiatrist because there's something wrong with the brain. So this is called as a panic attack. So this is basic anxiety. It's a fear of the unknown. You don't know, but in your head, you're imagining all kinds of things, what is going to happen. Yeah. Now, how do you deal with anxiety? Normally, if it occurs, it happens to everybody, right? So you question your thought patterns. Question, you know, are these thoughts logical or am I making them up? Will the exam paper really be tough tomorrow? You know, if I study and go, it will not be tough. Will I not be able to emote properly on screen tomorrow? I mean, if I'm confident, if I'm good, I'll do it. I've done it so many times in the past. Why can't I do it tomorrow?
Correct.
You know, so you question your illogical thoughts and your beliefs. Then you can even write down the thoughts which come into your head when you're anxious, and you can look for triggers. Like in this situation, I get anxious. So you will be able to make the link. Okay. Secondly, you practice focus deep breathing exercises. That's very, so whenever you're anxious, take deep breaths, okay? Meditation, yoga, walking, jogging, exercise in any form is very good when you're anxious. So this is anxiety.
Okay. So, you know, Husna, we are talking, about depression, anxiety, sadness. I mean, about mental health generally. But if you see that compared to other countries, हमारे भारत में अभी भी यहाँ पर mental health के बारे में बात करना बहुत ज़्यादा खुल गया. खैर अब तो हो रही है, but it's still a taboo. It's considered a taboo. लोग बात नहीं करना चाहते, especially people would not like to come out and address. पहले तो confusion ही इतना है कि exactly उनको problem क्या है. As you said, it could be sadness, it could be anxiety, not necessarily be depression. What do you think? How do people change their perception towards mental health? And now, since we are talking about it so much, it's there everywhere. So, tell us that what should be a change in people's perception about this whole mental health. Do you think it should be taught in schools at a very early level? It should become also part of parenting. Parents should, have this kind of a counseling or a chat, day-to-day chat with their kids, so that it doesn't lead to any major problems later in life. Because you know, competition, the insecurities will rise, and they are going to rise. They are rising. So, tell us something about this.
So you're absolutely right. Mental health has always been a taboo subject. So if you have a problem with your heart, or if you have a fracture, you fall down, you get a cut, you'll immediately run to the doctor. Even the parents will run with their kid to the doctor. But if you are undergoing any kind of mental trauma, emotional trauma, people hesitate to consult a psychologist or a psychiatrist. What I have noticed is even in schools, unless it affects the children's marks, the parents will never ever go and consult a psychologist. They will never do it unless the pressure comes from school कि बच्चे के marks कम हो रहे हैं, तो फिर जाएंगे find out करने को कि क्यों बच्चे के marks कम हो रहे हैं. They are not interested in why the child is not performing well. How can he not perform well is the question. So one of the biggest reason is because of the stigma which is associated. It is still associated with going to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. So it's like, you know, they sometimes people are very ashamed of going through these feelings. What, I can't handle it on my own. Then there's guilt. I have failed as a son, I failed as a brother, I failed as a father, whatever. That guilt comes in. Then the fear of being judged by the psychologist. In their mind, they feel that, you know, oh, we are going to get judged. Secondly, they feel कि क्या हम पागल है कि हमें psychiatrist के पास जाना पड़ रहा है? Are we mad? You know, but I must tell you that this is slowly changing, especially with the newer generation. There are a lot of young teenagers who approach me on their own for help between the ages of like 18 to 30. A lot of them come without their parents knowing, but they all come. In fact, Rotary Club of South Bombay has started a whole mental awareness thing where they have kept me as a therapist on their board, on their panel, to address issues faced by these youngsters. So a lot of educated people are coming out with this whole mental health thing also, and they are open to voicing their opinion about it, and seeking help is more important. You know, once they see that, okay, a psychologist is a normal person like me, kya karegi? I mean, you'll only listen, what else will you do, right? Once they have that rapport, and once they're convinced that, okay, it's going to help them, and they see that the person the other side is normal, wants to help, then it's fine. But they have to get rid of the stigma.
Absolutely right. वो acceptance खुद में कि हाँ, I may be going through a problem time, of tough time, and maybe an expert can help me. Just like you said कि if we have any physical ailment, हम डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं, तो इसके लिए भी हमें एक एक्सपर्ट के पास ही जाना पड़ेगा, वहीं से मदद आएगी, क्योंकि अपने भी शायद समझ नहीं पाएंगे, but finally you have to seek help from an expert, right?
Yes, absolutely. And with the younger generation, they are more open to telling their friends also, oh, I am going to a therapist, you know, please go to her, she'll be good. So they give a lot of references also, which the older generation still doesn't do. So the younger generation is much open to the idea of therapy and counseling. Secondly, school should definitely have a period, a mental health period twice a week, because nowadays the kids are undergoing so many different kinds of emotions and they don't know how to handle it. Then it comes out in wrong forms later on in life. So basically, the kids should be taught about different emotions and they have to learn how to express them in a healthy way. So for example, anger is a normal emotion, but the way you react to it is a problem. So when you're angry, if you're assertive, let the other person know your point of view. Your work is done, but being aggressive, hitting people is not the solution. So the kids have to be taught this right from a young age. In adulthood, it becomes very difficult. So if they're conditioned in that from that young age how to handle emotions, it's very easy. It could be very easy. Secondly, they should also be taught how to be resilient in different situations, in difficult situations. They should be taught how to cope with adversities in life, which our kids aren't. They're so pampered. We send them to the best of school, best of cars they travel in. So they aren't used to facing hardships in life, which is going to come later on in life. Secondly, they should be taught how to face bullying, which I said earlier is a very, very serious and rampant problem and can have lifelong consequences on the person. They should be taught how to respect women, which is very important.
Very important.
Very important.
Absolutely.
They should be taught about the dangers of sexual abuse, sex, how to have safe sex, which is very important. So all this, if schools do, it will really, really help, which some schools are doing. Honestly, they're doing, but they can start much younger.
Usna, as you know that we as part of media and entertainment industry, हम लोग हमेशा ही scrutiny में रहते हैं, हम हमेशा ही limelight में रहते हैं, especially the recent events which has happened. आर्टिस्ट के लिए कहा जाता है कि कलाकार जिंदगी की बारीकियों को बहुत अच्छे से समझता है, बाकी लोगों से ज्यादा सेंसिटिव होते हैं हम लोग, हमें चीजें ज्यादा अफेक्ट करती हैं. सो गिवन द सिनेरियो, अभी what do you think, what is a message you would like to give to all the actors, especially from, and also a lot of child actors? We have a lot of child actors as our members who are being, who have seen stardom and kind of fame and adulation from a very young age, है ना. मतलब शायद हम बड़ों से भी कुछ हद तक वो शायद हैंडल नहीं हो पाती, और उन बच्चों वो बच्चे भी जो है उस चीज का सामना करते हैं, फेस करते हैं. So how do you think, what are the things which an actor should do, an actors should do to take care of their mental health, which is because they're always under scrutiny, they are always there under microscope. So what are the tips you would suggest?
So I will tell you why actors are more sensitive and why are they more vulnerable also compared to other people, other professionals. So actors are very creative. So the creativity comes from them being right brain dominant people, which is an area in the brain which is primarily concerned with emotions. That's why actors are more emotional and they are more sensitive also. They're extremely sensitive. They are unconventional. They are very observant people also. But at the same time, they are very vulnerable and they are very emotional and sensitive. And they get hurt easily also. This could be also because the area of work is very stressful. Like you said, they're constantly in the public eye. Every move of theirs is scrutinized, from what they are wearing to where they are to where they are going to eat, to how they are looking, everything, whether they put on weight, whether they've lost weight, every single move is scrutinized. Okay, so their social and personal lives are always out in the open. There's also a lot of trolling going on social media. And because of these factors, they could face a lot of emotional and, emotional trauma and emotional stress going through. Thirdly, most actors are empaths. That is, they absorb emotions of other people. So for example, if they do a role constantly for a long period of time, okay, like they're doing depressing roles, like there are certain actors who are only slotted in those categories. So that depression gets to them because they internalize it. So one thing could be try and do diverse roles, do comedy, do sad roles, do different, explore different roles. Don't just get into one role. Fourthly, their failures are public failures. So if a movie and project what they have done doesn't do well, okay, it is every part of that is dissected in the media. So for example, if there is a banker, a professional who loses his job, people, only the immediate circle would know, and not such a big deal would be made about it. But if an actor loses out on a project or on a show, or if his film tanks, the worldwide people are talking about it. So because of that also they face a lot of rejection. So definitely at some point all these events in their mind would play a lot of havoc with them. So what I would say is, as I said, interact with the co-workers, because these are the normal stressors of life which everybody goes through. Y'all may be a little intense because y'all are in the public eye all the time. So again, here also the gratitude practice is very, very important. It really helps you a lot. Again, you exercise. When you exercise, your mind is clearer. Share your troubles with people. When you talk to people, it makes it much easier, and your burden is lighter.
Husna, what you're talking about also, I think a lot of film, I mean, the bigger stars would experience that whole thing, but lot of actors, the majority of actors, उनकी insecurities काम ना मिलने की वजह से आती है, जिसे हम कहते हैं अभी भी, which is a wrong word to use, struggle कर रहे हैं, एक शो बंद हुआ, उसके बाद नेक्स्ट शो का कुछ पता नहीं, when will you get your payments, you don't know, so घर रेंट भी देना है, बच्चों की स्कूल की फीस भी है, एक लाइफस्टाइल मेंटेन करना है, so all these things are which are faced by majority of actors. It is
and
not,
a lot of them also come from small towns and villages,
exactly,
with dreams to make it big, so they have very unrealistic expectations also. That's what I've seen, and if they don't succeed, they keep trying again and again and again, and then when they don't succeed, finally is that state when they come into severe depression. So they basically, and so many of them live on the roads, when you keep reading stories, they are living on the road and stuff like that. So what I would say is, when you come, don't set very, very unrealistic expectations for yourself. Like in any job, like if you're a lawyer, you start being an intern in a law firm. You're not the partner of a law firm immediately. That comes after 20 years, So when you start with small and then progress towards big. What happens is, when you come with, I'll be the next superstar, and it doesn't happen, that's when you face trouble. So when you have set small goals for yourself, and as you keep achieving that, move to the higher goal. That's what I would say.
And there's also another side to it, that even if people they start fresh and they suddenly become very big, and then suddenly they go out of limelight, वो भी stress बहुत होता है उनको कि अरे अभी तू, हाँ,
that I'm going to talk with the child actors, because that generally, normally it happens to the child actors. What I have seen is that, so showbiz is definitely a very, very stressful industry for everybody in it, more so for a young child. And as you said, the actors who've made it big and now nobody recognizes them, they also undergo a lot of anxiety within them. So child actors are used to all the attention which comes when they are young, because they are, when they are famous, so they get pampered by everybody around them. They get a lot of adulation wherever they go. Everybody is giving them a lot of attention. But once they hit puberty and that cuteness and that sweetness goes, then the problem comes in when they reach adolescence. So they are no more cute, they are very gawky, and they've lost out on those roles. So then a lot of them cannot handle it. They face rejection. They don't know how to handle the rejection. Then a lot of them could end up into substance abuse, drug addiction, and stuff like that. They cannot, anyway, teens is a very, very difficult period in everybody's lives, in all kids' lives. But these people undergo worse, because see, even as childhood, their emotions have been restricted, because they're always in the company of adults. They're expected to behave like adults. They have no friends their age. So that all also adds to them. So when they actually become teenagers, they go really crazy. Some of them really go crazy. So they need to be handled very, very, very well. Then they're often exposed to drugs, sex, alcohol at an early age. Child actors are also exposed to that. Then they also have to deal with very unhealthy competitiveness, especially during the reality shows, so they have this have to win attitude, which doesn't help in the long run. They have to learn to take failure, well. Secondly, even as adults, what you're saying, they're constantly craving for attention. So many times I've gone to restaurants and you see them, they'll purposely make a scene with the waiters so that people notice them. So that is a lot. The need to be recognized comes in. They lose out the pleasures of normal childhood, schooling, etc. The most important thing I feel is the parents. Most of the time, the parents push them to earn money.
Correct.
The parents may want to achieve their unfulfilled dreams through these child actors, which actually happens in any profession, but more so in this, because this is more in the limelight. So as a result, when these kids, most of these kids grow up, they face a lot of resentment for the parents also. Towards the parents, a lot of resentment is there. They also might not have had a chance to study properly or cultivate other habits, or they would lose interest in studying, because they feel, okay, we are famous now, we don't need to study, without realizing the consequences, So That is very important, but they will keep acting. And then when they come back also, they will keep attempting to act, but it will not help them. And that's why also then they get into depression. So they might even for to get fame and adulation again, they might even take wrong decisions in life. So these are the problems which the child actors actually of today face
So
normally.
basically what you're saying कि एक चाइल्ड एक्टर की जो मानसिक स्थिति है उसका काफी दामोदार उनके पेरेंट्स में रहता है. They have to be very careful.
They have to be very careful. You know, if they are doing serials or something, few hours, let them experience what leading a normal childhood is like also. Because when you grow up, you only have memories of your childhood. Like I was working with this girl who's a very high professional, and she's got so much of hatred to her parents. So she comes in for therapy once a week, and then we found out that her hatred for the parents stems from the fact that when she was a child, she was a trophy kid for her parents. So you know, ये competition में first आ गई, ये Olympiad में first आ गई, you know, and the parents will show her off to everybody. And today she's at that level in an MNC, a very good level. But she says all my peers are were normal kids, and they've done reasonably well in school and college, not necessarily toppers, and they are at the same position as me, earning the same amount of money, getting the same recognition as me. So why was I made the scapegoat by my parents for their unfulfilled dreams and desires? They projected me as a trophy kid, and I don't have any memories to look back as a child. You know, so this is very important.
Yeah, absolutely right. Because children are at such an impressionable age. I mean, they will not have the logic and the sense which an adult will have to differentiate. And so even if they're very good at their job, but वो जो उनके दिमाग के अंदर है कि मुझे यहाँ तक पहुंचना है, मुझे ये करना है और मुझे हर जगह दिखाना है, that's a very thin line which only parents can.
It's only the parents. So the parents have to be very careful, because this can have a damaging effect on the child's psyche for the rest of the child's life. You know, it's very sad, but it happens.
Husna, there is also a saying कि men don't cry.
Yes.
Men shouldn't
cry, not don't cry. Men shouldn't
cry, which is so sad, because I think वो जो एक pressure उनके ऊपर है कि अगर they are feeling sad, they are feeling depressed, कि वो अपनी emotions खुल के नहीं बता सकते, express नहीं कर सकते, which needs to change, right?
Absolutely, it needs to change. So I'll give you an example. If there are two kids, one girl, one boy, if one parent dies, like the mother dies, okay, so the girl is encouraged, बेटा रो लो, मन हल्का हो जाएगा. But लड़का रोता है तो हम उसको क्या बोलते हैं कि नहीं बेटा, you're a boy, you can't cry, you have to take care of your sister. अरे why? You know, that's the first thing we say. You're weak, how can you cry? You can't cry. So this stereotype has to change, because crying is an emotion. Basically, it doesn't differentiate between boys or girls. It's just an emotion, right? So, and it is a healthy release of chemicals like oxytocin, which are calming and beneficial for your well-being, you know. So it's very important so as a result, because boys are taught to suppress their feelings and emotions, they don't talk about it even to their spouse. So somewhere we are conditioning them to feel that, you know, it's not okay to talk about what you feel, or it's not okay to feel what you are feeling also, you know. So it's all suppressed and it's all repressed, and sooner or later it will come out in life. So boys should be encouraged definitely to talk, to share, to even cry. It's absolutely okay. I have boys, 21, 22-year-old boys coming and crying, and they're saying, we've never cried before because our parents don't let us cry. You know, secondly, parents also, like the Indian parents, what I'm talking about is, when we talk to our children, we are only shouting at them, screaming at them, you know, advising them, thinking we know everything, you know. You know, now come on, have you finished your homework? But we never once asked them, beta, how are you feeling? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling upset? You're going for these 1000 classes. आपको कैसे लगता है जाते हुए? Is it helping you? No, you must do it because your friend is doing it. That is the attitude. So Indian parents do not talk to their children. So I have so many children coming and telling me that, ma'am, we cannot confide in our parents because our parents don't understand us. And I feel, you know, parents love you. You know, they love you. But why can't the Indian parents communicate that to the child? What is this boundary which you have with the child, where the child is not comfortable in coming and talking to you? So for example, when kids have crushes, okay, I mean, it's a natural thing, we all have gone through crushes, but the parents don't know They rather come and tell me that, oh, you know, I have a crush on this girl, this, that, and all that. But the parents don't know, because then the parents will again give them a lecture. So it's all about Indian parenthood. It's all about lecturing.
Okay, Husna, we know the benefits of exercising, workout, because it releases good hormones, and that makes us, you know, happy and keeps our mental health in check. आपने बताया भी है कि हमारे को अपने डेली रूटीन में एक्सरसाइज और स्टेइंग फिट की कितनी ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस है. Could you elaborate more about this, please? That staying fit, how important it is to stay fit physically.
Yeah, so exercise, obviously, it releases good hormones. Okay, it releases chemicals which are called endorphins, which trigger a positive feeling in the body. So that's why when we go for a walk or when we jog, we feel good. When we come back, we feel energized, we feel refreshed. That is the endorphins at work. They are so, exercise is a natural mood lifter. So it reduces stresses, it reduces your feelings of anxiety or sadness, it improves the quality of your sleep, it boosts self-esteem, which is one of the very, very important aspects of mental health. Because unless and until you don't feel good about yourself, you will not think you're good enough. That's the most important aspect of mental health. Actually, I didn't touch upon that because I left it for now. When you exercise, you start looking better, you start feeling better, so automatically your self-esteem goes up. Exercise also prevents respiratory and cardiovascular illnesses, as we all know. But one common misconception is that when we talk about staying fit, the lay persons, we only concentrate on the body. You know, staying fit, acha figure hai, you're thin, you look nice, you're pretty. So that is, you're healthy, that is staying fit, according to the common man. But staying fit basically is achieved at the optimum peak of fitness is achieved when your body and your mind are performing together. Correct. That is the most important thing. So that is staying fit according to us. When your mind is at its peak and your body is at its peak, and there's a synchrony between your mind and your body, that is optimum fitness. So for example, we have often come across people who run marathons. So physically they are very fit, but many of them die. Whilst running, they collapse. We've always seen that, right? The Tata Marathon and all, people are running. Next day it comes in the paper, he died. Somebody died, and you wonder, itna fit banda kaise mar gaya? So physically he's fit, but mentally he must be undergoing so much of stress, which is what killed him. So that's why physical health is as important as mental health, and mental health is as important as physical health. It works side by side and hand in hand.
Husna, do tell us that if one experiences kind of, the mood swings, or what are exactly the signs of mental illness, and that is when the alarm bell goes and you think that you need to seek help from a therapist or from a specialist. What are the signs?
So see, for the symptoms to be prevalent, it has to be 2 weeks, okay, continuously 2 weeks to make a diagnosis, to make a medical diagnosis. One off thing is absolutely okay, so I don't want to alarm people by saying, okay, it needs 2 weeks for you to classify it as a symptom. Okay, so basically a change in your eating habits or your sleeping habits, very important. You may either eat too much, you may either eat too little, you may sleep too much, you may not get any sleep. Withdrawing from people and activities you once used to enjoy. For example, if you like listening to music, you liked reading, now you just don't feel like doing it. So withdrawing from people and activities you once used to enjoy, having low or no energy, feeling very tired, feeling fatigued, okay, unexplained aches and pains. Your leg is paining, your hand is paining, you don't know why, okay. Feeling unusually confused, forgetful, angry, upset, worried, or scared. Having severe mood swings, like sometimes you're very happy, sometimes you're very sad, you're down in the dumps, sometimes you're like shouting, you're screaming out of happiness, those kind of differences. Hearing voices or seeing things which are not true, that's another very important cause. Thinking of harming yourself or others. Not being able to perform daily tasks, like what you used to do, like a normal routine, going to work, exercising, doing your household chores, for students studying, etc. So when you have any of these symptoms or all of these symptoms or few of these symptoms coexisting for about 2 weeks, then you need to go and seek help.
Okay. Husna, now we know these 3 specialized fields, which is a psychiatrist, a clinical psychologist, and what you also call as counseling psychologist. ठीक है? How would you explain that in a very layman's term? मतलब एक simple इंसान को, मेरे जैसे इंसान को अगर आपको समझाना है तो आप कैसे समझाओगी कि what is the difference between these three?
Okay, so psychiatrists जो होते हैं, they are medical doctors who give medication to the client if the client has a mental illness. Okay, a clinical psychologist does the assessments, the mental health assessments, to arrive at a diagnosis whether the client is suffering from this particular mental illness or not, or suffering from any particular mental illness or not. And a counseling psychologist is one who does therapy with the client, counseling and therapy. Now, a lay person, supposing somebody is getting one of these symptoms or getting all these symptoms, okay? Ideally, they should be going to a clinical psychologist first to get assessed to see whether they have a medical condition or not, okay? Then if they do have a medical condition, then the clinical psychologist would refer them to a psychiatrist for medication, okay? If he requires medication. If not, if the clinical psychologist is qualified to do counseling, then the clinical psychologist also does counseling and various therapies to help the client cope with it. Most of the cases, especially in your field, might not require medication. They might only require people to talk to give them a clear, unbiased, unjudgmental opinion about what they are thinking and feeling.
Okay. But that's important because and you need an expert to at least go and talk to, as you said, to jitni bhi aapki pent up emotions hai, somebody to talk to who would understand.
Yes.
Right. So for that. So, and what happens, you know, there's also a fear कि पहला तो सबसे पहले है कि ये मैं अपनी बीमारी को एड्रेस ही कैसे करूं, और दूसरा चलो एड्रेस कर भी लिया. So if I go and seek a help from a you know, specialist, from a psychologist, what about this you know, patient doctor confidentiality? Should people be scared about that, or there is a safe ground on that? I mean, one can fearlessly go and seek help because that's important.
One can definitely fearlessly go and seek help, because the ethics of counseling say that whatever the client discusses with you, you are not supposed to ever disclose the information to anybody. So even when I get teenagers who come and who discuss their innermost thoughts and feelings to me, I will never tell their parents, because it is a breach of confidentiality. So so a lot of my friends' kids come to me, okay? So we never, I mean, it's not discussed. You know, nobody else knows the other kid is coming to me or what the kid is feeling. So it's not like gossip. It's not party talk. So you're not, and the client should be so comfortable with the counselor that the client can share his innermost thoughts and feelings with the counselor without the fear of being judged. That's when therapy works the best. And that comes because, see, everybody has a gut feeling. When you meet a person, you know, right? So that comes with the person's gut feeling. And the minute that comes, then your therapy is optimum. And sometimes people who come for therapy, they do not even require more than 2-3 sessions and they're fine. That burden is off their chest and they're absolutely fine. So they do not require medication in a lot of cases. They just require somebody to listen to you with an unbiased and unjudgmental way. That's it, nothing more than that.
And I would be very happy to tell our viewers that Husna Vanjara jo hai, she has offered her expertise and her counseling to all our members, to all our Cinta members, free of cost. और अगर आप में से कोई भी उनसे कंसल्ट करना चाहता है, या अगर आपके किसी भी तरीके के क्वेश्चंस हैं, क्वेरीज हैं जो हमने सेशन में कवर नहीं किए हैं, तो आप उन्हें ईमेल करके लिख सकते हैं, या फिर उनके इंस्टाग्राम हैंडल पर भी जाकर उन्हें डीएम कर सकते हैं. Husna, could you tell us your email address which people can note, and also at the end of this session हमारे social media platform पे, Facebook पे email address Husna जी का दिया जाएगा, उनका Instagram handle की details भी दी जाएंगी. But just who are tuned in right now, could you just tell us your email address at where they can reach?
My email address is hvanjara@hotmail.com, VANJARA, and everything is in small letters. And Instagram handle is husna.vanjara.
I hope आप सबने note.
I am ready to help anytime, anybody. Don't worry at all. And everything is confidential. Absolutely.
So just to wind up the session, Husna, give us maybe 5 to 8 health tips which you would like to give us to our viewers, how to keep their mental health in check now, this time and forever?
Okay. So first, most important thing is you value yourself. Avoid self-criticism. Tell yourself you're the best. The minute that self-doubt comes in, your self-esteem goes down is when the problem starts. So tell yourself you're the best. Okay? You're the best. And in your profession, a lot also depends on luck. So you can't be, self-blaming all the time. So when you learn to view yourself in a different light, you treat yourself with kindness, treat yourself with respect, make time for hobbies, that will help a lot. Secondly, take care of your body. As I said, eat healthy, no substance abuse, no drinking too much, no alcohol, no drugs, don't smoke. Take care of your body, lead a very disciplined lifestyle, exercise regularly, do yoga, go for a walk, exercise. Surround yourself with positive people. Very important. Again, when you surround yourself with negative people, you are attracting negativity. Surround yourself with positive people, happy people, so your mood is energized, your mood is lightened. Learn how to deal with stress effectively. Learn how to cope, not by hitting and abusing. Learn how to cope with stress in a good, constructive, healthy way. Set realistic goals, as I said, firstly. Second last, gratitude works wonders. Honestly, just try it, please. It really works wonders. And the last thing is, if all this doesn't help, please seek help when you need it. A lot of people are there to help you. Absolutely. There is no harm at all in seeking help. It will make you feel better. A lot of times I've got people, who hesitated for a year or 2 years to approach for help. And once they get it, they are like, "Arey yaar, ye to kuch nahi tha. Main kyun pehle aapko phone nahi kiya?" So when they view it as non-threatening, your mind is also a part of the body. It's not different.
एक्चुअली यू राइट, इतना जितना इस मेंटल हेल्थ को लेके हवा बना हुआ है, वो भी हमारा हमें हमें तोड़ना चाहिए. दैट इट इज it's okay to feel sad, it's okay to seek help, because whatever the help you're going to seek, it's going to help us in return, right?
Absolutely. You feel better. It's for yourself. Like how when you have a physical pain, you take medicine or painkillers, you feel better, right? In the same way, you're only talking it out. There's nothing internal also being entering your body. You're just talking it out. So it's
yeah, sorry, continue.
No, sorry, tell me.
Yeah. Okay. So you talked about gratitude, and we are like so grateful for to you for.
I hope
for
learn from this and they come for help. That will be the real gratitude.
Definitely, yeah. But before we wind up, we have few viewers here. I would like to ask if somebody has a question for Husna, they can ask. Otherwise, जब हम ये डालेंगे अपना social platform पे, I think there will be a lot of comments and queries, Husna, for you. So be ready to address a lot of emails and messages on your Instagram handle. Yeah, Satish ji would like to ask something. Satish ji, can you unmute yourself, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
My only question, if anxiety happens to be the fear of the future, and we are now talking in a very difficult times and circumstances. See what has happened. A lot of people in these during pandemic times, at the formative stages of their career, have lost out on their jobs.
Yes.
So that is, and when it's the fear of the future, they are enduring it on an everyday basis now. They don't know what's in store because they are at the infancy, formative years of their career, and they have been asked to go home, or the shop is closed and there's no job for them. So this is a very difficult situation.
Very difficult. Absolutely. It's a very, I agree with what you're saying. It's a very, very difficult situation. But worrying about it will not help you, right? Worrying about it will not help you. So for example, and everybody is in the same situation as you. It's so, y'all are talking of acting per se, but the businesses have shut down. So many people's office, what I'm trying to tell you, offices, so many people have lost their jobs. So the whole world is facing this pandemic. It's not only restricted to a particular sect of people.
No, I agree that.
Class of people. So even if you have anxiety, you're only giving yourself trouble, because when everything opens up, there will be more platforms, obviously. And nowadays, with so many of these web shows coming up and all that, definitely there is more scope for work. That's how I see it. Because earlier there were just TV and movies. Now there's web show. There's so much of other things also happening. So again, when your mind is positive, you won't get those feelings of anxiety.
Thank you.
I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, sure.
though.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
सुरेश जी, आप कुछ पूछना चाह रहे थे? सुरेश जी, is there any other question?
I think Mr. Sanjeev Kumar said. I think he's raising his hand.
संजीव जी, आपको कुछ पूछना है हुस्ना जी से?
पूछना तो नहीं था, मैं कुछ एडजस्टमेंट कर रहा था, लेकिन मैं पूछ लेता हूँ.
बोलिए.
एक्चुअली ज्यादातर जो साइकोलॉजिकल ट्रीटमेंट्स जो होती हैं, जो साइकेट्रिस्ट वगैरह देते हैं, ये मेडिसिन बेस्ड होती हैं. और आपको नहीं लगता कि मेडिसिन अवॉइड करके जो हम लोग लाइक योगा, दूसरी एक्सरसाइजेस करें, अगर वो एडवाइस की जाए तो उनके एक तो साइड इफेक्ट्स नहीं होंगे और उनके रिजल्ट्स भी अच्छे आएंगे. आपका इसके बारे में क्या ओपिनियन है कि आप लोगों को एडवाइस करें कि हेल्दी लाइफस्टाइल आपने बताया ही है,
बट हेल्दी लाइफस्टाइल इज एब्सोल्युटली फाइन. जो आप बोल रहे हैं वो सही है, बट समटाइम्स जो मेंटल इलनेस, so अगर आप योगा करोगे ठीक है, all that is fine, but when you need medication to alter the hormone system in your body or to alter the chemical pattern in your body, उसके लिए तो आपको medicines ही चाहिएंगे करने के लिए. That is the difference. लेकिन अक्सर क्या होता है, even by talk, unless it's a clinical medical condition like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, clinical depression, वो सब के लिए आपको मेडिसिन चाहिएगे. Those kind of illnesses will not go with yoga meditation. They will be prescribed as add-ons, but they will have to require medication. लेकिन जो आप लोग के जो normal day-to-day stressors है, उसके लिए yoga, meditation, counseling is fine. And counseling is talking. जैसे I'm talking here, I'll talk to you in private. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. So you don't require medication all the time, but when you require medication, you have to take the medication under
इंसिडेंस शेयर कर सकता हूँ?
medical practitioner. Sorry?
मैं आपके साथ अपना एक इंसिडेंस शेयर कर सकता हूँ?
Yes, please. Sure.
2018 फरवरी और मार्च की बात है. मुझे एक्चुअली बड़ी घबराहट हुई. आई वेंट टू अ फिजिशियन. तो मैंने कहा जी ब्लड प्रेशर हाई लग रहा है. उन्होंने मुझे कहा नहीं, ये आपको एंजाइटी है. दे स्टार्टेड गिविंग मी मेडिसिन. और देन इन अप्रैल आई वाज इन मुंबई फॉर सम वर्क. एक्चुअली ये नोएडा की बात थी. तो इन अप्रैल आई वाज इन मुंबई फॉर सम वर्क और मुझे पता नहीं लग रहा था मैं क्या करूं. डॉक्टर साहब को कॉल किया, डॉक्टर साहब हॉस्पिटल छोड़ गए. तो आई स्टडीड अबाउट दैट मेडिसिन. पता लगा कि उस मेडिसिन को धीरे धीरे छोड़ना. मैं उसकी डोज कम करता गया. मुझे नहीं पता वो क्या मेडिसिन थी. मैं उसकी डोज कम करता गया और उसको मैंने 3 महीने के टाइम में खत्म कर दिया, मतलब छोड़ दिया फिर उसके बाद लेना. और उसके बाद मैं अपना नॉर्मल लाइफस्टाइल लीड कर रहा हूँ जी. डाइट में इम्प्रूवमेंट की, एक्सरसाइज करता हूँ, एरोबिक्स वगैरह करता हूँ. तो मैं ठीक हूँ, मुझे कोई दिक्कत हुई नहीं. मैं ठीक हूँ, मतलब लाइक मेडिसिन मैंने अपने आप से ही छोड़ दी थी 3 महीने बाद, जबकि वो लॉन्ग टर्म चलनी थी. बट मैंने जो अच्छा लाइफस्टाइल अपना लीड करना शुरू कर दिया, तो उससे मैं ठीक हूँ बिल्कुल. मुझे प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती कभी.
बट देखो, मैं आपको वही बोल रही हूँ ना, एंजाइटी इज व्हाट वी आर थिंकिंग इन द हेड. इट्स आवर फियर ऑफ द फ्यूचर. इट्स आवर फियर ऑफ द फ्यूचर, राइट? सो आपने योगा किया, सो योर माइंड गॉट calmer, right? Your mind got calmer. Your negative thoughts must have stopped coming in because of the yoga. Your food made a difference. So that is also one very important factor. And anxiety you can deal with even on your own. Like I told you, you change your thought processes, you do yoga. But मैं जो बोल रही हूँ, जो बड़े mental illnesses है, like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, clinical depression, severe depression, वो सब के लिए you need medication. One more thing I want to say is that, you know, nowadays there are a lot of people calling themselves mental health therapists, but most of them, I mean, I don't even know whether they have a degree. So make sure when you go to somebody, even if you don't want to come to me, you are going to refer to somebody else, make sure the person has a proper qualified degree, because these kind of people then do more harm than good. So you have different kinds of therapies, okay? But make sure that you choose the right one and the qualified therapist. That's the most important thing.
So you made a very valid point कि to know your doctor, सबसे पहले तो some has to be a qualified practitioner.
And you can ask.
करेक्ट. वो संजीव जी का बड़ा एक वैलिड पॉइंट है जो मैं लाना चाह रही थी कि हमें अक्सर ना डॉक्टर से सवाल पूछने में डर लगता है कि वो एक्सपर्ट है, लेकिन हम इससे ज्यादा कैसे पूछें. नहीं, आई थिंक दैट ट्रांसपेरेंसी बिटवीन अ पेशेंट एंड अ डॉक्टर इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. जैसे वो संजीव जी कह रहे हैं, कोई दवाई प्रिस्क्राइब करती, मुझे पता ही नहीं किसकी चीज की दवाई है.
These GPs prescribe anti-anxiety drugs. Last time even my My daughter was 13. She went to a GP for something small. He gave her a drug for depression. So we came home and we are like, what the hell? You know, so they do this. So you have to be very careful what drug you're taking. If you go to a proper qualified psychiatrist, you're in the best of hands. You don't have to worry. But these other doctors who prescribe mental health drugs, you have to be extremely careful. And you can ask the person who you are going to for help. Are you a qualified person? What are your degrees? Where have you worked before? How many clients have you dealt with? Please ask these questions.
Or if not us, if the fear is, we can always Google and find out. We can always do some kind of research. But I think that relationship between a doctor and a patient is very important. As
It's very important.
Yeah,
Then only it works. Otherwise, it doesn't work at all. It won't work. You're just wasting your time.
Absolutely. So, do we have any more questions? I don't think so.
No.
So, I think let's wind up the session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Husna, for being here, for
My
talking to us. मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि हमारे members को ये session बहुत ही ज़्यादा अच्छा लगेगा और बहुत ही information based है और so brace yourself for the queries and questions which will come your way through either email. And thank you so much for being here with us and being associating with Cinta.
My pleasure.
Now for I think as long as we can keep you despite your busy schedule. So thank you so much everyone for watching us, or stay happy, stay healthy, and take care of your mental health.
Yes, most important. Bye everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.